What's up, guys? I got a special video on animation for you today. Again, my name is Andre, or Chokinator if you know me from my stream. And I'm going to show you the animations that I've done of Killua from Hunter x Hunter. Now, what I do want to preface this by saying I have not read the manga, I haven't read the anime, but I do want to. I want to be a Hunter x Hunter fan. But actually, the reason I animated these is because I have a friend named Goshoryu, like Mesatsu Goshoryu, like the Akuma attack. He's a big fan of fighting games. I'm a huge fan of fighting games. And he asked me to do some animations for a game that he's designing, an indie fighting game with Hunter x Hunter characters. Now, we don't plan on selling this or anything. If we did, we might get a C and D. I don't really know how that works. But he came up with a really nice, well-designed game. And, I think more than a dozen characters, all with these different types of attacks and upgrades and power-ups. But so far, I've gotten quite a bit done with the first character, Killua. If some of you might be familiar with him, if you're a fan of Hunter x Hunter. So I do want to. I guess I can show you all the animations first, and let them play. And I am going to upload a video as well of just the animation, so you can watch it loop over and over if you want. So as you see, there's jumping, running, attacks, and I'm going to show you each of them, and also the thought process of how I did them. There's a knockdown. There's actually quite a lot of this. Some aerial attacks. And these they're looking great. And so this is sort of the process of several weeks of work. Not several weeks straight. But yeah. So here's the idle animation. And I do want to show you the steps for when I show you the idle animation. So where should it loop? Maybe about right here. If you hold shift and click between frames, you can actually highlight all the frames, and if you hit playback, it'll actually loop on those frames. So one thing that inspired the animation for the pants here is Kim from King of Fighters. I did want some kind of looping pants, like baggy pants in a loop, and I think I did it decently well. It's not quite as amazing as the one from King of Fighters, but that was the inspiration. So because this Killua is the baggy pants type Killua, I wanted to get that one down. But anyway, what I do for this is I just use a white fill-in, but I also have, let's see if I archived it. I do start with a sketch. So if I start here with like an initial sketch, let's see, is it visible here? Yeah, right here. So I did start with an initial sketch. You can see his face kind of disappearing there because I have his face in one of the frames. But even as you can see here, the pants aren't animated. I'm just kind of transforming things, moving things around, moving the head up and down on the first few frames. And then as you can see, a lot of these frames are not clean yet, but I do use an underlayer to make a sketch. I don't have all the moves in here because I kind of just merge layers as I go, which you can see in another one of my tutorials on how to merge layers. But yeah, I sort of archived that. I don't really use it anymore because I've already drawn the line art. And as you can see, I have a copy of Killua. I end up copying and merging, duplicating and merging frames a lot. But yeah, so anyway, after doing all the sketches and doing the line art, you get this stage, which is just the movements. And I guess I can walk you through some of these. This is just a 4-frame walk cycle. I just move the shoulders up and down, move the head and shoulders up and down, and change the legs. So I pretty much used, wait, let's see. It's only 4 frames here. Let's see. There you go. Yeah, I just redrew the legs, and what I did for this is I took this frame, I duplicated it and moved it here, and then I just erased, I transformed his head and shoulders upwards, and I erased the legs, and so he has sort of that bounce. And the back walk, I did almost the same thing, except I did move the shoulder slightly. So you can see his shoulder moving back and forth here, so that's pretty cool. And let's see. Also, next is our running animation. So it's not just a dash, he also has a run. And again, there's no demo of this game or anything like that yet. It's still being built, and I don't even know if we plan on releasing it anytime soon, but it's definitely something that we want to make playable. So yeah, there's a run animation, so you can walk, you can run. This is the back dash. There's no back run, but this is the back dash right here. And as you can see, he kind of stretches out his face a little bit when he backdashes. Like, it kind of gets elongated here. And here's the jump. There is a little bit of a jump squat. I don't know if he uses it in the game programming, but I like to draw jump squats. So there's the jump squat, sort of a stretch when he jumps up, and then this is the falling or jumping neutral pose right there. So I end up you end up seeing this a lot, which you'll see that I copy and paste this whenever I do aerial attacks, because I want the aerial attacks to start and end in this position. So again, I always copy the idle pose, the first frame of the idle pose whenever I'm going to start something. So this is the back jump, and I'm really proud of this one. I really have a nice movement. The thing about KILLUA is that even though his limbs are usually relaxed, he's sort of a very efficient movement kind of guy. He doesn't really want to waste effort doing too many movements. At least that's the gist I got from seeing a lot of screenshots of the manga and the anime. Again, I don't read manga, so I can only guess from what I'm looking at. But KILLUA is a very well-defined character with how he moves, so I really like this, where there's tension where there needs to be, and there's relaxation where there needs to be. So you can see he jumps back, and then he tenses up right here as he's curving back down for the backflip, and then he just lets himself land on one leg. And then there's no landing frame here, but it just kind of smoothly goes back to the neutral pose. So I'm really proud of the way that one looks. And then here we have a... Let me bring back actually the white so you can see him more clearly. Yeah, and as you can see, I just put the white in a separate layer. So I just used the fill tool again and colored in any parts that I missed. So you can see that all there. So let me bring back the lines here. And this is, I guess, a jab where he kind of hits. If there were another KILLUA here, he would kind of jab his neck, you know. Let me remove that smiley face that I just drew. So that one's pretty cool. Let me play that for you. And here's a kick. I'm really proud of this one. I had to really study the movement here because I really like this wind-up frame. That looks good. And then I like the smear here of... the thing about fighting game smears, I really enjoy making it either like a straight momentum like this or like a curved momentum, which you'll see in some of the other moves. And with fighting games, you don't really want to draw every single frame. You don't want to draw the foot, you know, moving up, especially if you want it to be snappy. So it's not lazy, but it kind of is. It's like I want to draw the movement in one quick frame, but not only does it look good, but it also saves a lot of animation. So this entire kick is in 1, 2, 3 frames, and it looks pretty nice. So let me play it here for you. Yeah, it might even be faster than that in the game. Again, I just save the single frames and send them to the programmer, and they can set however many frames they want the attacks to actually last. So here's a crouching kick. So he starts here. He kind of lunges forward slightly, moves his hips down. You always want to move the hips and the torso first to sort of bring the weight of the character forward. It always helps to do that first, and then you extend the limb. And here's a slide. So there's a slide here. So that has a sort of a different effect. He kind of brings his hips in, and then he's gonna slide, and in the game it's gonna kind of move that way. Here is a punch. That's only 1 frame. I didn't draw any recovery frames or startup for this, and it kind of still looks okay. There's an aerial punch. He really stretches himself, which I really like. And it's this back hand coming forward that way, which I think gives this a lot of impact, even though it's kind of a light punch. Here's a kick, which I really enjoy drawing. I really enjoy drawing the smears here. Here he's getting ready for the kick, and it's with this sort of outside leg here. And he's kind of kicking, and then this kick, like if I didn't draw this smear here, this kick is kind of ambiguous as whether he's kicking that way away from us or kicking this way towards us. And it's really important that this recovery frame needs to be clear so that it shows that he did in fact kick toward us and he's rotating toward us, and then follow through with the animation. And I do have little smears here on the legs to show that the kick, this is the leg that kicked, and it's sort of twirling back around. So let me play that one for you. I think this one came out pretty nice. Yeah, looks pretty good. And this is a blocking animation, basic, fighting game block. There's a crouch block as well. And not only do they block, but he has to get hit as well. And there will be several animations for getting hit, but these are the basic ones that, are nice and usable for a playable build. That even though there might be more animations for getting hit, these are some that are usable right away. So there's getting hit while standing and getting hit while crouching, and that looks pretty good. And here we have the knockdown, the hard knockdown. So not only do we have him like getting hit up this way, but all the way flipping back. So that's 3 frames. 1, 2, 3. And he's falling here. And he hits the ground. And in Street Fighter, there's always a bounce. So I drew a little bounce animation. Either he could bounce up high, and the programmer will do that. And then this is the same frame as this one. So the bounce, this frame repeats after the bounce. So let me show you the knockdown animation. Looks pretty cool. And you can feel the impact. And here is another attack, sort of a lunging fist attack. Bam. I really like, so we use a lot of manga references for these attacks. The designer is, again, this is really well thought out. He has almost, I think all these attacks actually have reference in the manga. So he brings his hand forward, swipes, and it's so fast that it kind of makes this blur here. I really like the way I drew this, that his hand, most of his arm kind of disappears. It's just this hand movement, and that's kind of how it looks in the manga too. This hand that just becomes a bunch of blurred lines, and it's already, it starts back here, quickly comes as a blurred line this way, and then it's already back here again. So here, blurred lines, and then back here. So that's a way to make the move look really fast. And then always recovery frames back to neutral. So kind of looks like that. Bam. Looks nice. And this is a sort of a flipping kick. It was kind of complicated to figure out the movement on this one, but he steps forward with this front leg that goes right here, and then he brings this back leg up, and he sort of kicks with the back leg, and this will probably launch the opponent. And as you can see with this one right here, I really like how this is drawn too. I really enjoy animating these, as you can see. Especially with characters with simple outfits like this, kind of baggy clothes. It's really fun to animate. And then this frame where he's sort of just flipping back, I just kind of rotated it. I rotated the line art, and then I refilled it. I think I also rotated the white fill. Or I might have just filled it again, because sometimes when you rotate things, the pixels aren't perfect, and I just wanted to fill it again. And then here's the recovery frame in the landing, as he hits the landing there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 landing frames there. So let's watch this attack. Yeah, not the greatest, but I really like the launch. But the rotate and landing are I think can be improved, but I'm just gonna leave it as is. And we're getting to the final few attacks here. This is a sort of a DBZ-like double fist strike. So he winds up here, winds up a little bit, winds up a lot, brings his arms and legs fully back, and then I feel like I could have brought his legs up this way for more impact. Don't you think that would have been cool? Like knee up here and foot going that way. It could have had more impact than this, but he loops all the way around, flips forward, and I like that he kind of flips in the Z-axis here, kind of toward the camera and away from the camera. So let's look at this one. Kind of cool. I like the impact, but again, I think the impact could have been even stronger if I exaggerated the leg movement a little bit more. And then these ones I just did in this past week. These last 3 attacks. This is a really quick kick. This one's gonna hit low. Just knock someone in the foot real quick, or in their shin. And I love that KILLUA puts his hands in his pockets, just like he does in his walking animations. Killua always so relaxed when he needs to be and doesn't need to. There is tension here, right? It's relaxed and tense, which is kind of what I'm going for with the whole character animation here. Like, he's super relaxed here in the wind-up. Kind of tense as he straightens out his leg, because this is an attack and he's hitting someone, so there needs to be some tension. But it's still so relaxed, like even in his facial expression here, you can see it's not really putting much effort into this. And then 1 frame of recovery there. So there's actually a little bit more than that loop. Yeah, so he does recover. There's 1 frame of recovery there. And I really like this one. This is sort of a spinning back elbow attack. Kind of like Guile's back fist, or I think Ibuki also has a back fist. We kind of designed this similar to Ibuki's back fist from Third Strike. So he kind of pivots off of his front leg. I move this foot back again, which is the programmer's job to position that. I try to keep everything centered as much as I can. No, wait, actually no. Actually, that isn't the programmer's. It's the front leg. The front leg is moving back. Sorry. He kind of pivots back, jumps this way with his front foot, and then brings his weight. And I really like this wind up here because you can see he's still winding up. Here's a wind up, and you could go from this frame all the way to the attack, but there's even more wind up here. 1, 2, and he even brings his hand back here, and then you can see the elbow come and smears forward. And these 2 frames are very similar, but this is the impact frame, and this is where he kind of just stays there. So I like to have that extra frame so you could see the pose. And even here, 1 more frame where you can see the belt. And even the belt is part of the animation here too. So you can see the belt kind of flipping this way, and then in the next frame, it's over there. So you can see the secondary animation of the belt following through, and then it still follows through even more because it kind of falls down. And then he comes back and recovers and pivots on this leg this time, and now he's back. So I really like how that one turned out, so let's look at that one. Starting from here, I believe it ends here. Or no, here? Yeah. So from here to here. Let's check that out. I really like that one. You can see a heavy impact, a wind up, the secondary animation. I think this is probably the best, maybe the best animation out of all the attacks that I did. In the sense that it follows all the principles of animation. Yeah, the anticipation, the follow through. I really like how I did it. And then this one was kind of complicated. This is a yo-yo attack. So he reaches into his pocket here, grabs a yo-yo, and kind of attacks in this arc, and then flips around. And I really like how dynamic his weight is shifting here. He's kind of just flipping around and he's twisting around, and there's a lot of foreshortening, and that was really fun to animate. So I can show you that one. Yeah. So that's pretty much it. Those are all the attacks. I'm really excited to do more in this project. I can't work on it all the time, but whenever they have more assets for me to do, I go ahead and work on them. So you weren't able to watch me animate, but hopefully you were able to see sort of the thought process and also the actual process of animation, in that I do the sketch and then the lines and then the not the color, even though it's just a white fill, in different layers. And all this stuff you could see, you can do all this stuff using the tools that I've put in my tutorials, the basic animation tutorial, merging layers, using the fill tool for color, and rendering. All those basic things in my 4 tutorials that I've made so far. Again, if you want to see anything more from the tutorials, if there's anything you want to learn how to do in Krita or with animation in general, maybe I can make a follow-up video. But I hope you enjoyed that. I do really want to read Hunter x Hunter, and yeah. Hope you enjoyed that. I love you all again, and we'll see you all in the next video. Peace out. Bye-bye.